Climate-related effect and risk have increased globally, and Nepal is no exception. Climate change is both a reality and a threat for Nepal's most vulnerable people and community. The combination of several climate extremes, such as heavy rain, flooding, and landslides, is becoming more common and severe. Millions of people are already affected by climate change and require immediate aid. Therefore, climate change-related loss and damage are already a subject of concern in Nepal. The climate-induced hazards like glacier lake outburst flood, avalanche, landslides, floods, and droughts are all getting worse. Sectors like agriculture, tourism, forestry, where over half of the population are dependent, is among the hardest hit by unrecoverable loss and damages from climate change. In 2021 alone, climate-induced disasters claimed 438 lives, caused property loss of over 2.5 billion Nepali rupees, and destroyed 3,678 private properties. The climate-induced disasters impacted 2.08% of GDP of fiscal year 2017-2018. The impact is faced by the most vulnerable.
घरको सामान पनि केही पनि उठाउन पाएनौँ हामीले सब केही रहेन सर अहिले साना साना बच्चा छन् बुढा मौजान बेपा जानु भएको छ सर यहाँ हुनुहुन्न
हाम्रो अब यहाँ पुस्तादेखि बसेर आएको बाजेहरू पहिला अब त्यसकारणले अब अहिले अब यस्तो अब पहिरोले अब जोखिम बनाइदियो यहाँ अब राति ढुङ्गा पानी आएको बेला त यहाँ बस्न सकिने ठाउँमा
त्यो समस्या छ राति भाग्नु पर्छ केटाकेटी लिएर अब घरउँदै पहिरो आएको छ.
The number of these incidents are ever increasing.
What we've noticed is our monsoon patterns have dramatically changed. Usually monsoon does start from the Tarai plains. This time in 2021, we started experiencing it on the very first day in the mountains. Experienced an extreme amount of rainfall that happened at the end of the monsoon. Actually, since we started recording our rainfall, we've experienced such a longer period of monsoon. What we've also experienced is similar to last year. We experienced catastrophic amount of disaster impacts, especially in the central, western, and the far west areas.
The areas that have been covered by these events has also increased. The impact of these events is not just economical. The most vulnerable people are the hardest hit, and the human cost is ever rising.
Climate-induced disaster, जलवायुजन्य प्रकोपको कारणले बाढी पहिरो र यसले पार्ने इकोनोमिक र नन इकोनोमिक लस ज्यादै व्यापक छ.
The damages faced by infrastructure and the delay in development activities due to these climate-induced events further highlights Nepal's vulnerability.
This pattern has led to is a massive amount of economic damage and losses in our country in a mountainous setting. Our water supply systems have been lost. Our only transfer of water into the Kathmandu Valley, that was wiped out. The headworks was buried under 24 meters of debris. It's uncertain as how long will it take for us to revive that water supply system. Along with it, we've also lost a dozen of breezes, permanent breezes, scores of sustained breezes, kilometers and kilometers of roads. We've lost massive amount of agriculture areas, livelihoods, in addition to the death of human beings.
To minimize the impacts of climate change and address the issues of loss and damage, there is an urgent need to recognize the situation. Nepal lacks enough capacity and resources, thus requires enhanced financial and technical support to initiate an appropriate action to avert, minimize, and address loss and damage.
Our challenge is to find financing to respond to such disasters, but also carry out recovery and reconstruction. Our country position paper clearly tells of operationalizing the Santiago network to look for such financing mechanism for reducing such risks, but also to respond and recover from such climate-induced disasters.
जलवायु परिवर्तनको कारणले परेको चाहिने हानि नोक्सानीको विषयलाई सम्बोधन गर्ने विषयमा इन्टरनेशनल कम्युनिटिजहरु पोजिटिभ हुनुपर्छ र त्यसको लागि उहाँहरुले यो छुट्टै फाइनान्शियल मेकानिजम होइन UNFCCC अन्तर्गत छुट्टै मेकानिजम चाहिँ बनाउनुपर्छ। अहिलेको चाहिँ नि यो मिटिगेसनको जुन चाहिँ नि फन्डिङ मेकानिजम त्यो र अरू एडाप्टेसनका केही फन्डहरू छन् त्यसले लस एन्ड ड्यामेजको इस्युलाई सम्बोधन गर्दैन।
What will happen in Nepal in the days to come is something that we don't know. But till when will Nepal be able to deal with this uncertainty alone?